Good morning, students. Today we are going to cover protein. This is your lecture number 4. The course name is Biology for Engineers and the course code is BBS01T1008. So in progression of the macromolecules or macromolecular biomolecules, we are going to cover this next after carbohydrate and lipids. Protein and nucleic acid is the next point that we need to cover as biomolecule in detail. So recapitulation for this particular, we should know the cell membrane or the plasma membrane, can also be called as cytoplasmic membrane, cell composition and cell functioning, carbohydrate, biomolecules and lipids. That should be known to every student that I have already covered in the previous classes. So objective here is to give you the detailed information about the biomolecules or the macromolecules in terms of its structure, shape and information. So basically in the whole lecture series, I have discussed with you about cell, the cell organelles and the composition of the macromolecules which are found in the cell like carbohydrate, lipids and protein. How it is providing the composition, structure and functioning to the cell is our main objective to understand in this whole module. So let's start with the proteins. So proteins are the organic compounds with high molecular weight and these are formed by carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, that means hydrocarbons, as well as nitrogen and phosphorus, along with the sulfur present within. They are the polymers. They are the polymers formed by the substances which are called amino acids. Amino acids are linked together or linked to one another in such a way that it is going to form a protein composition. Amino acids are linked together by peptide linkage. So once we'll start the structure of the protein like primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary, we will get to know how amino acid are attached to one another as monomers and forming a long polymeric chain. So introduction. So protein is one of the most abundant organic molecules present in the living system and have the most diverse range of functions of all the macromolecules. So each cell, if I'm finding in a living system, have thousands of proteins and each protein is unique in terms of its function and its structure. So all proteins are, the polymers of amino acids, or I can say amino acids are the building block of polymers. That means in simple language, I can say amino acids join together in such a way, in such a manner, you know, the protein composition of different types can be generated as per the dependency of the sequences and the length of the sequences as well as the complexity of the sequences. So I can name them, in terms of the linkages, in terms of the complexity, I can name them. Protein structure can be named them like primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, as well as quaternary structure. You can see here the simple sequence of amino acid. It may have, amino acids joined together continuously in a particular length or a sequencing. In the secondary structure, you will find the local folding is maintained by short distance interactions within the amino acid to form a polymeric composition. Next is tertiary structure. You can find the complexity is going to be little more and additional folding is to be maintained up to a longer, sequence. So the more distance interaction you can find. More distant interaction is found here in the tertiary structure rather than secondary structure. Similarly, quaternary is going to be much more complex than the primary, secondary and tertiary structure in the same sequence. Later I will discuss that diagram in detail as well. Now we will talk about the amino acid, which is the monomer or the basic building block of a protein composition. So amino acids, if I talk about the diagram, it is having amino, that means NH2, and acid, that means COOH group. So amino group as well as carboxyl group, both are present within the same compound. So that is attached to the carbon that carbon is attached to the another alkyl, side chain. Any alkyl group or any side chain of having different alkyl group, giving rise to the various types of amino acids. Another important thing, that carbon which is having alkyl group attached here or side chain attached here is known as alpha carbon, and the amino acid can show you both the positive and the negative charge present onto it. That is why it can also perform like a Zwitter ion. So it is having the capacity of showing positive as well as negative charge within the same compound or within the same amino acid. That is why it is also considered as Zwitter ionic composition in its only ionic orientation. So amino acids are the monomers or the building block of protein. Correct? Or I can say all proteins are made up of amino acids. Each amino acid has three, basic compositions. Like first is it is having amino group. Another, it is having carboxyl group, COOH group, and it is also having alpha carbon. To that alpha carbon, one R, which is providing a side chain or alkyl group attached to it and giving rise to the various types of amino acids. Now we will talk about the peptide bonds. So let's talk about how it is going to form and how it is present in this particular protein sequence. So the sequence and the number of amino acids determine the shape, size, function of a particular protein. So amino acids which are attached, are having covalent bond. And such covalent bond is also known as peptide bond, which is formed by the dehydration reaction. Let's start with how dehydration reaction is carried out. So we can say, the carboxylic group of one amino acid. Let's take, I have taken one amino acid. You can see in the reaction diagram here. This is NH2COOH, NH2COOH. Both two amino acids are taken here. It may be similar or it may be dissimilar. It is depending upon the kind of amino acid we have taken for the reaction, but the concept of the reaction is going to be almost intact and similar. So what is going to happen? The two amino acids are going to react to each other in such a manner that OH of one particular group is going to, react with the NH2 of another amino acid. In such a way, the dehydration, loss of water is going to happen, and the amide CONH, bond is going to develop. Similarly, you will find that such peptide bonds are found in, a protein linkage. Such covalent bonds, you can also call it as. So, covalent kind of bond, which is also called as peptide bond, are found in this particular protein sequences. Now we will talk about the structure of the protein. So the shape of protein is a very complex, and is critical to its function as well. So protein get its final shape and conformation with various levels of protein structure. I have already told you it may be primary, it may be secondary, it may be tertiary as well as quaternary, depending upon the kind of foldings present, the complexity as well as the length of, you can consider, of the polymer, protein. So protein get its final shape and conformation with various level of protein structure. So we will be now talking about the further shapes: primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. Let's start with the primary structure. You can see here the amino acids. This is, so amino acid, you can see the A chain of amino acid attached to one another to form a primary polymeric, protein composition. So unique sequence of amino acids in a polypeptide chain is its primary structure. So you can see the chain sequence or unique sequence. This is A kind of chain, this is B kind of chain, which is attached, which is also having disulfide linkages as well. So these are having, peptide linkages. If more than one peptide linkage is found, then such composition can also be called as polypeptides. And such chains will be called as polypeptide chains. So the unique sequence of amino acid in a polypeptide chain is its primary structure. You need to understand this is A chain where various This is one amino acid, another amino acids. So various amino acids attach to one another to form a protein chain. You can see, in the diagram. So now we will talk about the genes and the primary structure. So because somewhere it is related to the primary structure, the genetic information. Now we will talk about what is the unique sequence of a protein. So unique sequence of a protein is ultimately determined by the gene encoding of the protein. So what is the sequence is there? What is the function of that? What are the properties of that protein sequence? You know, uh, is going to be carried along with the gene. So the unique sequence of protein is ultimately determined by gene encoding of protein. Change in the nucleotide sequence of a particular gene coding lead to a different amino acid, which is being added to the polypeptide chain and causing the changes in the protein structure as well as the function. Like example I should take here, this is one amino acid named as threonine attached to proline, which is also attached to another amino acid, which is glutamic acid. Then it is attached to lysine. Now what is done here? This you can see this glutamic acid composition. That means one amino acid which is having glutamic acid within is going to be replaced by changed by valine, another type of amino acid. In that case, that change in the nucleotide sequence of gene coding lead to the different amino acids, correct, and it will change the structure as well as function of the protein here. So you need to understand this is amino acid chain and it is having certain nucleotide sequence. So change in nucleotide sequence of a gene coding is going to create a different amino acid, by a different amino acid is going to create a change in the polymeric structure as well as properties. Now we will talk about the secondary structure. So secondary structure, if I'll go with, so secondary structure of the protein is obtained by local folding of the polypeptide chain. I hope you remember we started with peptide. When many of the peptide linkages are present in a particular protein, then within the amino acid, I mean to say. So then polypeptide is going to acquire the secondary composition, which is a kind of folding. You can see in the structure, this is alpha helix, and if it is like sheet like, then it is beta pleated sheets. So it may be of various types in terms of structure and folding. So as per the structure and the folding, we can name it as secondary type kind of protein. So you can see alpha helix, if I'll talk about, again it is going to have the basic amino acid composition. Like you can see this is CO, this is alpha carbon, this is amino group. So this is carboxylic orientation, this is the alpha carbon, and this is the amino group. So again I have taken amino acid, but it is attached to another amino acid in the just opposite reference, because I want where the amino group is there, it is going to attach to the acidic CO. So just to give rise to the peptide linkages and to form the polypeptide chain, such kind of spiraling is going to happen. So you can also make it like similar. So again you can see this is CO, and similarly it is going to be attached to one CO of one chain is going to attach to the NH of the other. Similarly, if you will go with the beta plated, it is going to be the elongated rather than helical. So you can see this is a sheet like orientation. Again this amino acid composition, different amino acid compositions are taken. Basic composition are going to be intact, and you will find the alpha helical secondary structure of the protein by local folding within the polypeptide chains. So if I'll go with the tertiary, it is going to be much more complex than the primary and the secondary as well. So tertiary structure of the protein is obtained by the variety of chemical interactions. So you need to only understand, even though it is very complex structure, no need to draw it all throughout. You need to understand the basic composition there. Like if it is having amino acid, so how to write the amino acid in the helical structure. If it is much more, it is very long polypeptide chain, then you need to draw it like this. Here I have drawn with the red or orange color, you can understand here. So this is the orange kind of orientation, can show you the polypeptide backbone or a background of a particular protein. What do I say? I need to only highlight the chemical interaction present. It is also including the hydrophobic interactions, like rest is common in the secondary structure and the tertiary. What is the difference? That I am going to highlight here. So this is hydrophobic interaction. You can see this is ionic bonding. The hydrophobic interactions, you can see this is hydrophobic interaction. This is ionic bonding with an amino and acidic group because of the quaternary amine formation. And you can again find the hydrogen bond also within these, OH, and you can see this is, so there is a possibility of formation of hydrogen bond within hydrogen and oxygen in the same, as well as you are finding the disulfide linkage, which is common in the protein structure. So protein is made up of, all together you can understand, it is made up of hydrocarbons with nitrogen and sulfur as well. You can find the disulfide linkage is confirming the presence of sulfur as well. So I hope everybody is getting the structure of tertiary, and now we are going for quaternary structure of the protein. So some protein are found from several polypeptide subunits, and the interaction of these subunits can form the quaternary structure. So the complexity level of these, the structural composition is going to be changing, as well as the spiraling is comparatively, folding and spiraling is comparatively found different in each case. The chain length is also enhancing. The complexity of the chain length, folding within are also of different types and more in vicinity. So that is why these are named as primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. So some protein are formed from the several polypeptide subunits, and the interaction of these subunits can form the quaternary structure. So overall stabilization of the structure of the protein is due to the weak interaction between these subunits. So overall, if I'll try to show, this is going to be looking like a protein structure. So firstly, you can see this is the amino acid chain, primary structure of protein, a sequence of a chain of amino acids. Whereas in the secondary structure, you are finding the helical composition. Secondary protein structure is showing hydrogen bonding of peptide backbone, causing amino acids to fold, and repeating pattern of that folding in the form of pleated sheet and alpha helix is obtained. In the tertiary structure, you will find tertiary structure is having three-dimensional folding. That means more of folding, more of interaction, and different pattern of their shape and composition as well as functioning is acquired here. So protein here is showing three-dimensional folding and more of chain interaction. Quaternary, you can find this is much more complex and looking like so. So now we will talk about protein is over. Now we will talk about nucleic acid. So after protein, we'll start with the nucleic acid. Again, all nucleic acid are having the composition of a macromolecules, which are important for the life. So nucleic acids are very important macromolecules. Like you have studied carbohydrate, lipids, protein. So in that same sequence, we will also study the nucleic acid, which is going to be the important macromolecules of life. They carry genetic information or genetic blueprint of the cell and carry these instructions for functioning of the cell. So there are main two types. Two main types are DNA. I hope everybody is aware about deoxyribose nucleic acid and ribose nucleic acid, can also be called as deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. So now let's talk about nucleotide. So DNA and RNA are made up of monomers. Generally, I hope you remember we started with carbohydrate. We started with the kind of monomers like monosaccharides, we started with monosaccharide to combine to form a polysaccharide. So similarly, you studied in the protein as well, amino acid linked together to form a protein, polypeptide chain, a protein composition. Similarly, DNA and RNA are made up of monomer, which are called as nucleotides. So we need to understand what are nucleotide and what are their structure. These nucleotides combine with each other to form polynucleotides. Similarly, a kind of polymer is going to get formed again. So what is the monomer here? Nucleotide. What is going to happen? Nucleotides are going to combine, n number of nucleotides I should say, n number of nucleotides to combine to form the polynucleotide. DNA as well as RNA. So nucleotide is made up of, this is very important thing, how the composition of nucleotide is looking like. So the composition is made of, one is nitrogenous base, another is pentose sugar, which is 5-membered sugar, and a phosphate group. So nitrogenous base in a nucleotide attached to the sugar molecule, pentose sugar, and it is further attached to the phosphate group. By taking these basic composition of nucleotide, we can be able to define the DNA double helical, etc., etc. As well as we will be able to, get to figure out how central dogma or the information from one generation to another generation is passing through. So now we will go structural, how the chemical composition is looking like. So the chemical composition is looking like, you can see this is cytosine, this is thymine present in DNA, uracil which is present in RNA. So you need to draw the structure. This is, you can see there are 3 carbon and 2 nitrogen in the ring, having carbon and carbon nitrogen double bond. One is attached, carbon is attached, top carbon is attached to the amino group, and there is, you can see. So this is cytosine. Similarly, one more CH3, this is thymine, you can see, along with the CO at the top. Earlier it was NH2, with H and CO at the top, it is uracil, which is found in RNA. Adenine is having one, hexane ring, means one hexagonal structure as well as one, the carbon and nitrogen combination with a 5-membered ring. So 6-membered and 5-membered ring are attached here. Adenine. In the case of guanine, you will find here we have amine group, but in the case of guanine we have carbon, it's carboxyl group, as well as amino group at the another carbon. So you need to just draw the structure of, these are pyrimidines and these are purines. So you need to know pyrimidines are having 6-membered structure with having 2 nitrogen atoms, you can see, along with the amino and carboxyl group. Whereas purines, you are finding this is 6-membered and 5-membered all together attached. So example of purine is adenine and guanine. An example of pyrimidine is cytosine, thymine, and uracil, where thymine is present in DNA and uracil is specific for RNA. Now we will go with the nucleotide overall. So after nucleotide, we will understand, this is a base. This is a base. It may be purines or pyrimidines. The base is taken. Base is attached to the sugar. This is 5-membered pentose sugar, and this sugar is attached to the phosphate linkage. So you need to understand this is the second carbon to the first. From oxygen we will start. This is first carbon, which is having this base attached, the second carbon, the third carbon, and the fifth carbon. To the fifth carbon, this phosphatic group is attached. So now we will come to the DNA. So after nucleotide, I hope everybody means clear with the nucleotide composition. It is a basic composition, you can say a kind of monomer, and DNA is formed by the polymerization of the nucleotides. So what is the basic composition of nucleotide is clear to everybody. Now we can start with the DNA model. It may be double helical or a single helical, but we are actually connected to the how genetic material is present there. So DNA is a genetic material which is found in all living organisms, and it is passing the genetic information from one parent cell to the offspring. So it may be double helical model as well, this anti-parallel double helical model. So phosphate backbone is present outside. You can see here phosphate backbone is present outside. Base is present inside the helical structure. Inside compositions are base, and base do interact with the further groups present there, um, and each base interact with the base of opposite strands. Okay, this is how the DNA double helical structure is looking like. You can also show this A attached to thymine, guanine is attached to uracil. You can also show is by the linkage of these particular as well. For the references, I have taken certain for diagrammatic orientation, I have taken Pearson's Education 2008 as a reference material. You can further go through certain links as well to get to know more clarity about the protein structure. The link is given here, and you can go through these references. This is all for the day. Thank you very much.